I first came across Katie Marie Strong on Instagram because that's kind of how we sort of meet people these days, I guess. And she had just started this blog called Your Cup of Tea. And it was really about opening all of the things about relationships, the beautiful things, the shitty things, and a lot of the things that none of us really ever want to say out loud. And as a previous blogger myself, I was in the fashion space for a little while. I really loved her fresh perspective of bringing real conversation to the city, to this community. And I went to her. She also did something really cool for her blog launch that I love. She had a tea party. Very fitting. And she shared a little bit about her first blog post that she wrote. And I just immediately gravitated towards her energy, her vibrancy, and just her hilarity, and her willingness to be open and go there and have those deep, meaningful conversations, because that is so much of my being, and that is exactly why she is here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Katie. She is gonna rock our love boat.
Okay, I was really worried because they promised me I wouldn't be able to see you and my nerves are through the roof. And I said, as long as I can't see you, like I can't count how many times I cried myself to sleep over sappy love songs and talked to myself till I passed out. So if I can get through that, I can get through this. So awkwardness is a big fear of mine, but I've just actually learned to accept that I am a very awkward person, so you're gonna have to bear with me. You know, doing this event, I said, well, what if my story doesn't flow well into what I want you to take away from it? And then I stepped back and I said, girl, if there is one thing you have learned from anything that you've experienced in life, again, A, you're freaking awkward, get over it. And B, if you're not experiencing awkward moments in life, you're not growing. If you're not having hard conversations, asking awkward questions, or feeling uncomfortable, you're not experiencing life. So, as Grace and Frankie would say it, fuck it, and let's get started. So, my first real relationship, like Eddie said, everything happens in high school. I was about 17. I met this big hockey player. Everyone said I was the puck bunny. I took it and rolled with it, like, okay, whatever. It was a very interesting relationship. Everybody thought he was this sweetheart. You know, he sent me flowers to class and all these things, and I was like, oh God, if you guys only knew. So I ended up breaking up with him for reasons you're about to find out, but I won't get into any gruesome details. And eventually, when I started to move on with my life, he started to stalk me. Like, get in line, buddy. But, like, thank you, but at least be seen. Like, that's all I ask. There's my awkward jokes, I warned you. So, what ended up happening was I was leaving a current boyfriend's house, and he had been sitting outside all night waiting for me to leave, and he ran me off the road. I don't ever cry. And now I'm gonna cry because there's a spotlight and a million frickin' people that I can't even see. He broke into my car and he beat me until I was unconscious. I was later to find out he had a gun, and to this day I am convinced he was gonna kill me. I'm a drama queen, so I make facial expressions and there's cameras everywhere, so bear with me here. The moment I woke up, my very first memory is being in a hospital with my family all around me. And my quirky little self, I'm like, oh God, crack a joke, make things less awkward. Again, that word, awkward. And I was pretty high on some prescription drugs, so I was feeling real confident, real great. And the only thing I spit out, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but I sat there and I said, Rocky, Rocky. Not a peep. I was like, you guys, I'm fucking hilarious. Why is nobody laughing right now? And I just remember the expressions on my family's face, and they were either looking down at the ground at nothing, or they were looking at me like, is she okay? Like, oh my God, what do we say? What do we do? And it was in that moment that I swore to myself I took on the responsibility of never wanting anyone to feel anything but love. I was going to do it selflessly. I would continue to crack bad jokes even at the expense of myself. I would go above and beyond because in the end, love prevails. Now, that being said, coming out of that relationship, I probably gave a lot more to people that didn't deserve it, looking back now. I went from one abusive relationship to another abusive relationship. From there to just a very poisonous relationship. He was a man-child. He cried more than I did, which is very hard to believe. And from there, I just realized I need to hit the reset button. If I'm going to make people happy, I need to be happy, and I need to truly believe that I am happy. I made the big move to the big city of Regina. Shout out. Yeah, thank you. And I met some amazing people. I had nothing but good people in my life who encouraged me. I started a new job. Everything was great. And then it happened. I was so content with being on my own. And then this asshole just showed up and stole my heart. I was trying to mind my business, doing my job. I was working in a pub, and they played live music there. So a local band comes in, and funny story, and she will kill me if she ever finds out that I told this, but one of my good friends who worked there said there's this band coming in. And you know when you're in, let's say, elementary school, to make us all feel better, there was boy bands, and we'd be like, oh, that one's my boyfriend, and then your best friend, Susie, would be like, he's mine, and you're like, bitch, I will kill you. Like, if you go around school and start telling people that Nick Carter's yours, I will throw down in the sandbox. It's not happening. So anyway, she's telling me this, and she goes, that lead singer, he's mine, back off. And I was like, okay, girl, I'm a strong, independent woman, I don't care. And so I'm doing my job, and all of a sudden, this voice, they started playing, and the hairs on my arms stood up, and I melted, I was heavy. I was like slow motion turning around, and there he was. And I just wanted to hear him say my name. I was like, sing my name, it's Katie, please. And I stopped working, sorry if I was serving anybody in the audience, and I was just mesmerized by this man. I had never felt such a strong connection to anyone, let alone after what I had gone through. And my grandma said something a while back that kind of stuck with me, and it was, you can tell everything you need to know about someone by their eyes. And this man's eyes was filled with passion, kindness, love, and a lot of mystery. And I was sold ever since. Now, because I'm a little dramatic, I say passionate, some people say dramatic. We met in a very rom-com fashion, and after he was done playing, I was at the bar, pouring some beers, and all of a sudden I hear, hey, can I get a beer? And I did this. Like, no word of a And I could see behind him my friend going. So because I thought it was hilarious, my response was this. And he was left wondering if I even frickin' worked there. Like, he was mind blown. So eventually he actually asked a bartender about me, and the bartender's like, oh, that's Katie, she's outgoing, she's hilarious, she's all these great things. And he's like, I don't think we're talking about the same person. After what I just experienced. And so things got pretty serious. He followed me on Instagram. And yeah, I know. He liked a photo that was about 2 years and 5 weeks old, and I was like, oh, you want it? Okay. So I slid into his DMs, and I was like, okay, buddy, let's do this. I have when I am drawn to someone, kind of force myself into their life. Again, because of the types of relationships I've had with some pretty bad people, I've always said, if I can spend that much time with someone that awful or that troubled, then I've got to know the good ones. So we originally just, it was all chill. We built a really strong friendship. I even had to help him with girl problems, which made me sick, but I'd never let him know that because I'm too bullheaded. I was never really jealous, though, because I knew in my gut this guy was coming back to me. There was no doubt in my mind he was meant to be with me. So I grinned and I bared. And our first date, this is where I can't stress enough how strong and how powerful communication is within relationships. Our first date was I was going to Bushwhacker, and surprise, that's the pub that I worked at. He said, well, can I join you? I was like, absolutely, I'll be there at this time. I go and I'm sitting up at the bar, you know, and I'm waiting and I'm waiting, and he's not showing up. And I'm waiting and I'm texting and he's not answering, and I'm like, I'm stood up. What the fuck? Like, do you know, man, what's waiting for you? Do you know how long this took? But in his mind, when I finally got a hold of him, the lack of communication, he thought I was going to a bar, or to where I worked, to hang out with my friends, and he would just join if he could. But I thought it was a date. Whoa. So, my bad. I mean, I still made him pay for it, but ultimately, it just came down to poor communication. So we spent a lot more time together. You know, we were doing the grocery shopping. He made me meet his family first before he would commit to me. And in my mind, this was insane. It's like, hey, mom and dad, what do you think of her? You know, like a little show dog. But that goes to show you how everybody has different morals, different values, a different idea of how things should work. And it's nothing personal if it doesn't go the way you feel it should go. That has nothing to do with you. We're all made differently. We can all feel the same things. We can all cry, laugh, be sad about the same things, but we experience it differently. So I said, listen, buddy, I met your parents. They love me. Shocker. And my parents think you're pretty all right, too. So what do you say? Let's do this. And basically what it came down to, he's a very logical man, which kind of drives me nuts. But he brings my dramatic ass down to earth, while I kind of put his head back up in the clouds and teach him to love openly and be a little more free with your feelings. So we said, all right, we're going to do this, but under 2 clauses. It was a verbal contract. A, he put a lot into this career he was pursuing, and he felt that he had let a lot of people down in doing so, so he had to concentrate on that. And that it would probably be number 1 in our relationship for a very long time. My clause was, bring it on. I want you to have that probably just as much, if not more, than you do. And nothing has to come first in a relationship as long as you are a team and you're both on the same page. So all I ask from my history of, emotional, physical, mental abuse, being cheated on constantly, I've been cheated on by everybody I'd ever been with. Communication and honesty is all I ask. We sealed the deal, and we started dating. We jumped into living together right away because it just made sense. He was gone anyways, and when we were together, when he was home, we were together all the time. So it just worked. Everything fell into place. When we were in public together, all eyes were on us. And I know, again, that sounds dramatic, but I like to think I have my own little TV show, and everyone truly loved us. I had strangers come up to me and just be like, I want someone that looks at you the way you two look at each other. And I melt still to this day even thinking about it, because I never thought I would find someone that did that for me, and that it was so strong that other people could feel it and could see it. And then life happened. We had been together for a while. Next step was buying a house. It was in the plans. I wanted kids. I wanted to get married. He could take or leave either, but if you love someone, it's called compromise. He started to get really busy in his personal life, and you just start to question. You sit back and you think, what can I give? What can I do well? What can I give this person that I love that I don't want to let down, and what can't I? And then the lack of communication started. I could feel it in my bones. I could feel him pulling away, even though every day he was smiling at me and making me feel special, making me feel wanted. There was just something there, but I was too scared to ask. So I started to love him more. I pulled the weight of our relationship. I showered him in gifts. I planned the dates. I posted all the quirky photos. And I didn't realize that I was giving so much love, I was forgetting to take it in. This was a huge problem because even though I strongly believe in loving selflessly, you need balance. And that comes together with a partnership and that awkward conversation. He and I started growing more and more apart, and ultimately I found out another woman started filling the role as his best friend. Now, the part that hurt so much about it was I knew nothing about her. And in anybody's mind, if you don't know about your partner's best friend, something's not right there. So instantly, with what I've been through in the past, I assumed he was cheating on me. I assumed the worst. I thought they were going to run away, get married, and I was going to be homeless. Still fabulous, but homeless. And I basically got inside my own head. I started making things worse because I run on emotion. I never took the time to step back and really appreciate the fact we are individuals. There's always going to be what's happening. There's going to be his side, my side, and unfortunately in this case there was her side. I don't like talking about it, but there was her side. And just because we experience things differently doesn't mean that there's something at the root of the problem. And we couldn't get to that root. We bounced around back and forth. I probably cried on the bathroom floor in a towel listening to Whitney Houston more times than I should admit. I lost 12 to 15 pounds in under 2 weeks. I missed the first week of a job I was really excited about. Sorry, guys. And from there, we basically just looked at each other and we had hit rock bottom. And it sucked because we still knew we were each other's best friends, but we couldn't figure it out. I moved out. I say we went our separate ways, but that fucker wasn't going anywhere. I talked to him every day. We broke open that communication. We talked about the nasty stuff, the awkward stuff that would make your skin crawl. But because we're each other's best friends and we were able to step back and really take a break from being consumed by the emotion in the moment, we could all of a sudden start to see everyone's side. It doesn't mean that the way things played out were correct, or the way it should have happened, or respectful on either part. I said a lot of things I didn't mean because, but, and he just couldn't express to me what he wanted to. And you know what, we still talk every day. He's probably still my best friend. And I don't know if we'll ever get back together, but I know that, there's no one else I would have want to have went through this with. Again, he's the logical person. I'm the one that breaks open the feelings, and together we grew a lot. If it happens that we grow, if it just so happens we grow apart, it's just how it's meant to be. You can't control what's happening. All you can do is step back and say, what do I need? I learned I need a partner. I can't keep giving because I never got in the past. I can't keep obsessing about how people robbed me of my life 10 years ago, because while obsessing about it, I started robbing myself of the moment. I stopped letting things happen naturally. I got pushy in a very romantic way. And if there's anything I can just ask any of you to take away from this, it's to look at yourself. What do you need? Who are you? How much do you love yourself? And do you have that partner? Because as long as you have a partner and you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you are truly unstoppable in your relationship. And that's all.